And the winner, Justin Roberts. And
second place, Chris Reed.
for the corner. Right, in the middle. Thank you. Well done, everybody. I've got to get back to the next race, but we'll see quite a few of them in the next race anyway, won't we? Yes. Well done, everybody. Nice to have so many people turning up at the podium. See you later.
Thank you very much for that. Just as they turn left, it's David Yates, the second on the grid. The blue number 15 car that has taken the lead. The blue with the green flashes on tell us it's Caroline Everett, the number 9 car that sat on pole position, has dropped back into second at the moment with the Dayglow green. Nice and easy to pick out. The number 42 car, Paul Sethi, started third, is third, but is all over the back of Caroline Everett's car as they went down Lakeside and out of my eye shot. In fourth place, just trying to double check that. I think it is still Stephen Clark, number 25, that sits there at the moment when they disappeared out of my shot. But as they come over Hilltop any second now as one, I dare say. Yep, here we go. And in fact, we were already going side by side. I think we tried to go by side as well then, but it's David Yates, the all-blue car, that's got the lead. Second place is now the Dayglow yellow of Paul Sethi, number 42. Tries to have a nibble at David Yates that wasn't possible at that stage. Caroline Everett in third, Stephen Clark. Then it's number 62. Don Henschel's got a good start. He's up into fifth place, but under huge pressure already as they go up over Clay Hill and out of my sight again. So it is David Yates, number 15, that had the lead, but is Paul Sethi going to be able to mount a challenge as they go under the trees towards the completion of their first lap? I do now watching briefly on YouTube at the moment, but there is a sort of a 5-second delay on the stream I've got there because the main monitor sadly isn't working here, so I'm not able to watch it in real time. And it looks like Caroline Everett was trying to have a nibble up the inside of Paul Sethi as they went through that section, and they've gone across the line. Paul Sethi is in the lead as they cross the line, so he obviously managed to make that move at Lodge. And in fact, no, I think on the footage, I'm trying to watch a delayed footage. Yep, he's looking, and he's already got damage to the front of his car. Down they come, and Paul Sethi's dropped down to third place now, so the nose sticking up in the air isn't helping. Up into second is Stephen Clark, the red, white and blue 25 is up into second place, and he's already hunted down our race leader. David Yates is in the lead still, number 15. But Stephen Clark absolutely flying. He loved it round here in the supercarts, and he was telling me earlier that he's been enjoying it out in these Caterhams as well. But he couldn't believe the difference as you go through the left-hander at Island Bend. In the supercarts, the onboard telemetry told him he was doing something like 120 plus mile an hour. In the Caterham, it feels just as fast to him, but it's registered in the 90 odd mile an hour. So it's quite a big difference that between the supercart that he was used to and these Caterhams as they come over. Is that Stephen Clark in the lead? I've got a feeling it might be, you know. Red, white and blue, number 25. Bit of a lock up there. It is. So into the lead goes Clark. David Yates in second. Third place now is Don Henshaw, number 62. I keep meaning to check because that name sounds similar to an ex-supercart racer as well, but I don't know for definite. He's all over the back now of the number 15 car of David Yates, who was in the lead. It looks like Paul Sethi, the lunge that he attempted, unsettling the front nose cone on that Caterham, has pushed him backwards. What was he, down in 5th place and still under attack? So he's probably hoping that will just fall off at some point. I don't know whether he will get the meatball black and orange flag that will tell him he needs to come in. Hopefully not, because we'd rather he was out there racing, especially as he was such a prevalent part of that battle towards the front of the field. Stephen Clark crosses in the lead. David Yates, quarter of a second behind him at the line. Don Henshaw, Ben Winrow up into 4th place. I wondered who was there in 4th. So Caroline Everett down to 5th place now. Ben Winrow up there in 4th. And in fact, Ben Winrow, we can see the blue with the red flashes trying to go up the inside of David Yates. David Yates holding on to that 3rd place round the outside, nearly contact, but got away with it. So Don Henshaw up into 2nd place, ahead of David Yates, and it looks like Ben Winrow was about to make his move up another place, the 124 car. Not quite possible this time round.
Right, I'm going to have to get my bearings, but who do you reckon's leading? What it says on the screen?
It is
number
Stephen
25,
Clark. Yeah.
Stephen Clark. And the leading group making its way out of Shell Oils into Britain's chicane. And we've got a leading group, is it 4 or 5? 4 plus 1, really. 5, I'd call it, yes, as they accelerate out of the chicane and come over Hilltop back into your sight then, Chris.
Yep, here they come just on time. And it looks, in fact, I think, is that, who's it? Don Henshaw's in the lead. So it is that sort of grey and black 62 car that has got past Stephen Clark. So it is Dosia Partners. 124 Ben Winrow in 3rd, 15 David Yates, and Caroline Everett with the blue with the green wheel trims on it, sat there in 5th place. But Don Henshaw was under pressure over Clay Hill from Stephen Clark.
So here they come then into, yes, he's under great pressure, isn't he? So Don Henshaw having his moment out front. Whether it'll last, we'll have to see. Again, it's a 25-minute race, so still lots of time left. 19.25 minutes remain as the leaders fan out across the track. It's not that wide, but Caterhams could do that sort of thing, even at Oulton Park. Late braking, weaving around, under braking a little bit by the leader that time as he comes through Lodge Corner, now through Dearly. Everybody anxious not to bump into each other, but it was very tight then as they come across the line. It's a cluster of 5 cars all in a bunch, and just for the record, Clark, Henshaw, Winrow, Yates, Everett was the top 5. But they were side by side. It was just tiny gaps between them.
In fact, it still is now. Yeah. Oh, goodness me. We got 6 of them arriving as one. Don Henshaw, Stephen Clark, Ben Winrow, David Yates, Caroline Everett. Who's there? That's Baldwin
Number
and
4,
Roberts.
Baldwin, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
wow. Yeah. And Roberts is there right with them as well. And they're fanning out. It looked like they're trying to go 3 wide down Lakeside.
Well, they are, yes. Wherever they can manage it, they'll go 3 wide. It's a narrowish circuit in which to try and do that. It's not the wide open spaces of somewhere like Silverstone. So the cars then making their way through Shell Oils. The leader ran wide that time, so he's dropped back to 3rd place, and it may become back up to second. Such is the regularity with which they're changing places. Just about every corner it is at the moment. Somebody gains a place in that top. Yes, it has become 6 cars in the leading line over Hilltop.
Yeah, they're coming down towards us. Which one is in the lead? Now it's Ben Winrow that's got it. 1, 2, 4. I thought it was, but I wanted to pause for a second. Ben Winrow, Stephen Clark, Don Henshaw, David Yates, Caroline Everett. Then it's the number 4 car of Baldwin, just ahead of Roberts. But Caroline Everett is the one that's under pressure as they go up. Now there's a black and white flag going up for the 42 car.
Yeah, black and orange flag.
Sorry, that's what I meant, sorry.
Yeah, I knew, yes.
That's Sethi, and that'll be because of the front nose hanging off. I had a horrible feeling that was going to be the case.
Right, so the leading is an amazing race. They are so close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there's at least 7 cars all trying to get through Lodge Corner at the same time. 2 of them have managed it side by side. Out of the elite they come, joined by a third, joined by a fourth as well. So it's nearly 4 abreast as they make their way down into into Old Hall Corners. It's absolutely side by side stuff. And then 3 more behind those 2x2 first 4. It's Clark, Winrow, Henshaw, Yates, Everett, Baldwin, Roberts and Poole are the top 8 now.
Yep, they're down. Winrow is still holding on the lead. David Yates has gone tumbling backwards a little bit there because Caroline Everett up into 4th place ahead of David Yates, and that's thrown him back into the clutches of Roberts and Poole a little bit further behind them.
It must be exhilarating, but it must also require quite a lot of concentration, energy to just make sure, because the cars are running so close that there's not a tap and cause an incident. But that's one of the remarkable things about front-running catering races. They don't seem to have, touching wood saying this, that many coming together in significant accidents, despite running in such close company. Anyway, the leaders now making their way through the chicane. And we've got a shot of, I think this is Sethi's car in the pits now with the front, with the nose damaged. Yes, it is. So, yes, 42. I'm afraid that's retired to the pits.
Yeah, that's the one, sadly, that did have the contact and therefore dislodged after challenging for the lead. Through past, it's the old foes, Ben Winrow and Stephen Clark. They've been battling in a few different Caterham championships with great success, and they are great friends but great rivals as well, and they'll be having a well of a time at the front.
At the end of the previous lap, the gap first to second was 0.072, second to third 0.117, third to fourth 0.129. I mean, they're just minute gaps, these, and we'll have them coming through again shortly through Lodge Corner. And it is in the lead this time, 124 Ben Winrow here, as he was with Chris. Over the line he goes, but does he actually still have, might have been squeezed out, in fact, over the line. Yes, he was, by 57 thousandths of a second. It was 25 Stephen Clark who was leading the way from Ben Winrow, with Don Henshaw, number 62, third, and fourth is number 15 David Yates, and fifth is number 9 Caroline Everett.
Well, I thought we were going to have a challenge there from Stephen Clark to get back into the lead. It wasn't quite on. Don Henshaw is now trying to come at Stephen Clark after he attempted that move down towards the left-hander, and I think we're going side by side again.
Well, yes. It'd be unusual if we weren't going side by side, I think, in this race. There's certainly somewhere in that leading group 2 cars running side by side. Just about every corner. Anyway, at the moment, the leading 6 or 7 cars making their way out of the Shell Oil's hairpin. It's rather like, but it happened earlier in this race than it did in the 420 arcade race. They get themselves into a ever-increasing string of cars, snake of cars, making its way over Hilltop, back into your site, Chris.
Yep, here they come, and it is still Ben Winrow, blue with the red wheel trims on it that tell us it's him. Stephen Clark bouncing over the curb on that first apex and somehow didn't unsettle him. That gave me a jolt in my back just watching it. Don Henshaw in third place. David Yates, Caroline Everett, they're still there, but Stephen Clark's got a good run up Clay Hill. Is he going to be able to carry that momentum all the way out of my sight and in towards Druids?
Right, get a shot of Druids there, side by side, of course. With on the outside there is number 124, Stephen Clark. So he may lose the lead when they get to the next right-hander, Lodge Corner, which we'll cut to in a moment. And it is Stephen Clark who has the lead there. So they come through this, of course, changing places mean they do hold each other up a little bit, and that enables them to be reeled in by cars at the bottom end of the top 10. Right, the first 4 go through. Clark, Winrow, Henshaw, Yates was the order over the line. Caroline Everett 5th, and up to 6th. Sorry, Caroline Everett 6th. There's a car with a transponder problem. And then 7th is number 33, Mark Roberts.
All of it helps if I turn on. All of a sudden, it's Ben Winrow's got a little bit of a margin. David Yates was trying to have a look up the inside of Don Henshaw. So suddenly, Ben, although that's disappearing because Stephen Clark left them scrabbling behind him. So he's been able to reel in our leader again.
Yes, so any small window like that doesn't seem to last very long, does it? So the same pack in a shuffled order as ever comes through Shell Oils and through the right-hander, which precedes the Britain's chicane. Well, has Ben Winrow made a break?
Let's have a look. They're coming over. He's still in the lead. We can tell it's him, the blue with the red sides on it, but he's not got a margin anymore. And in fact, all of them are back line astern. Stephen Clark, Don Henshaw in the 62 car sat there in third. Then it's Caroline. Oh no, sorry, it's the number 4 car now that's up into. So Baldwin's up into 4th place ahead of David Yates, Caroline Everett. Then a small gap before we get to Roberts. So again, fairly changing in that pack, isn't it?
Indeed. 11 minutes and 40 seconds, just over 11 and a half minutes remain.
They're just posturing at the moment.
Well, yeah, maybe. Anyway, it's Stephen Clark who leads into Lodge Corner, almost as if Ben Winrow was allowing him to do so. As you said, they've raced against each other many, many times over a good few years. And across the line, it is just like the start of the race, 2 by 2 by 2, as they head down towards Old Hall Corner. And more cars, I think, are joining that leading group. See what you think, Chris, as they head into your side at Cascades.
Well, let's have a look. The lead is now, is that Don Henshaw? Yeah, it is. The 62 Don Henshaw, Stephen Clark, Ben Winrow. Then it's the number 4 car of Baldwin. Now remember, David Baldwin is the championship leader when he arrived here. Qualified down in 8th place though, but he's been working his way up to 4th in the number 4 car. And everybody else ahead of him is basically just chopping and changing.
Yeah, so the important thing is to stay in the leading group and then time your move to the front of it. Not yet, I wouldn't have thought, as long as you stay in the leading group. 10.5 minutes still to race. And they make their way into Britain's chicane. And there's no daylight really, one to the next. They're in a long line over Hilltop. Back with you, Chris.
Side by side they arrive, and it looks as though, let me just double check. I think that's Stephen Clark trying to have a lunge around the outside. It was the red, white and blue 25 car, but Don Henshaw holds on to it. Blue and red, 1, 2, 4. Ben Winrow in 3rd place. And then it's the number 4 car, Baldwin, our championship leader, just ahead of Caroline Everett. But they did arrive side by side, but Don Henshaw's managed to repel that challenge from Stephen Clark.
Yes, he didn't start the lap in the lead. He was second, but he took the lead early on.
By 0.069 to be fair, wasn't it?
Yes. There was a huge margin.
Yes.
So we're now on the 8th lap. We've got 9.5 minutes remaining. And this race far from resolved. If you were able to put your money down now, Chris, who would you go for?
Padlock on the wallet, to be honest.
Okay. Right, here we go then. Completing their 8th lap. 0.071 of a second separated Don Henshaw from Stephen Clark. Ben Winrow still 3rd. In 4th place, number 4, David Baldwin. In 5th place, Caroline Everett gaining a place back. And then 6th place, number 15, David Yates.
Oh, and we had a big challenge from the number 4 car of Baldwin. Tried to go up the inside of Ben Winrow, but it didn't come off, but thankfully didn't come unstuck either. That looked getting close and twitchy as they disappeared out of my sight.
Yeah, well, just looking on the TV picture, it is like the start of the race. They are 2 by 2 by 2. It's amazing the way this race is unfolding.
Yet the fastest car is good down in 9th place. New fastest lap of the race. Incredible.
Yeah, indeed. A 55.29, and just ahead of him, Chiverel did a 155.414, lapping quicker than any of the leading bunch, who are lapping in the 158.59, 158 to 159s.
And we're again fanning out, going too wide. It is that 2 by 2 by 2 here. Again, big lock up from somebody, and they just about get it stopped. But also 2 of them have just suddenly gone wide. Let me just check. Oh, number 4, Baldwin just rejoined the track quite viciously there, but thankfully got away with it. Caroline Everett was the one that had the massive lock-up, and she's now a long way down behind this pack, I'm afraid to say.
Oh, she's dropped out of the running, has she? Out of the leading group, right.
She's joined, and she'll probably catch back up to the rear of it, but she's now at the, it's got to be like 7th or 8th, I'd imagine.
Okay. Right, the leaders then make their way, headed by number 62, Don Henshaw. Certainly a contender for victory, but he's still got to hang on there for another 7.25 minutes. So the order over the line this time: Henshaw, Clark, Winrow, Yates, Roberts, Shiverell. In 7th place, number 36, Good. 8th is number 36, Caroline. No, sorry, 9th is number 9, Caroline Everett.
We're going side by side down here again. Still Don Henshaw, Stephen Clark, Ben Winrow somehow level themselves out, which is the same order, but I tell you what, I'd have not expected that when they came down here. The interesting one, Ian, that you're going to see when they come back down towards me is that we've now got a nose cone just past the first apex of Hislops, and a wheel arch just before the second apex of Hislops. So we've got bodywork all over the circuit down here.
So you can actually create a caterham during the lunch break.
I'm collecting. I'm getting there. That's the plan.
Okay, well, they're through, or making their way through Britain's chicane and coming over Hilltop. Here they are.
Yep, and in the lead, they're being shown the red and yellow flag, not for slippery service, but the fact that there's debris on the circuit. Don Henshaw still holding off Stephen Clark, Ben Winrow, David Yates up to 4th place now, just ahead of championship leader Baldwin in 5th. Then it's the number 33, the sort of metallic turquoise car of Roberts, sat there in 6th place. Caroline Everett has got herself bolted onto the back of this now very large group, isn't it? There's about, what, 9 of them?
9 or 10, yes.
Yeah, all together, and she is on the back of that one now.
But a lot of work to do in the remaining 5.25 minutes if she's going to get any better places than 9th. Meanwhile, up at the front, the side-by-side stuff, it's a cliche really in caterham racing, isn't it? The cars run side by side, but it makes it very exciting and close racing. They make their way, the leading pack makes its way through Deer Leap and across the timing line, and 10 laps completed. It's Don Henshaw leading, Stephen Clark is second, Ben Winrow, David Yates, and in 5th place is number 33, Mark Roberts. Sorry, 6th place is 33, Mark Roberts, because number 4's transponder isn't working. That's David Baldwin, who is in 5th place.
We nearly went 3 wide, would you believe, down here into Cascades?
Yes.
Yeah, you probably, I was about to say you would believe it, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Don Henshaw is now leading Ben Winrow in 2nd. Up into 3rd has gone David Yates. And Stephen Clark's found himself back down into 4th place as they came out of that one 4 wide. But thankfully, they all did come out the other side. That's the main thing.
It'd be fascinating to have a sort of driver to microphone commentary, wouldn't it, by one of the drivers in this race, describing what he's thinking as each, you know.
Wow, yeah. It'd have to be dubbed, I reckon.
Well, I don't know. You get somebody who can talk. Oh, bouncing over the curbs there as they... And over the grass and sliding sideways and correcting the slide. That was number 62, Don Henshaw. That was a wild moment. He bounced over the curb in the first part of the Britain's chicane, then got an opposite lock-on the grass, but he's still got the lead, I think, Don Henshaw.
No, they're already halfway through Hislops, and it's Ben Winrow, 1-2-4, that's in the lead. So down to 2nd goes Don Henshaw. Stephen Clark is all over the back of them as they now go back up Clay Hill. So it is now new leader, 1-2-4, Ben Winrow. And that's from 3rd when they crossed the line up by you. Yes,
well, it was helped by Don Henshaw getting all crossed up. I mean, it was a big sideways slide, but he controlled it well. But he lost momentum, and that's how he lost the lead to Ben Winrow for the first time in the race. I think that he's led, is it not?
I'm trying to remember. He may well have at one point, but I think you're probably right. Bearing in mind, he started 9th on the grid.
Yes,
as well.
Exactly.
And an amazing job by the marshals down here. They've ran on and got rid of all the bodywork through Hislops. Fabulous, the mighty Orange Army. Okay, well, Ben Winrow leads across the line by 0.035 of a second over Stephen Clark, with in 3rd place now number 4, David Baldwin. In 4th place, Don Henshaw, who led at the start of the previous lap. And in 5th place now, another name to mention in the group, number 71, John Shiverell. He is 5th, and 6th is Mark Roberts, number 33. 7th is 15, David Yates. 8th is 36, Rob Good. And in 9th place, 7-10, is Jake Poole, and Caroline Everett has been bumped down to 10th. So the leading cars make their way through Shell Oils, and
putting my money on somebody who predicting the winner out of this lot. There's not much time to go, 2.5 minutes. So at the end of this lap, they might actually have time. Down towards you, Chris.
Yep, they're side by side. It's Ben Winrow's going to cover off the inside line from Stephen Clark. Don Henshaw, who had fallen down to 4th across the line by you, is back up into 3rd place. And it's David Baldwin, the championship leader, in 4th. Up into, there's 71. So Chivral's going well up there in 5th, isn't he? Just ahead, I think, of David Yates. No, David Yates has fallen a long way back.
7th.
Yeah, and well detached from that group as well.
Yes.
I'm glad I kept my wallet locked up, because he'd have been one that I'd have put some money on.
Oh, well, there you go. Anyway, as they come through this time, they will be starting their last lap. As they, again, it's pairing off 2 by 2 by 2. They go to single file to negotiate Lodge corner, and it's 124 Ben Winrow who leads through Lodge, leads to the end of the lap and leads onto the final lap. But across the line, it's Stephen Clark 2nd, Don Henshaw, as you say, back up to 3rd. John Chivral is 4th, number 71. In 5th place is Mark Roberts, number 33. 6th is 50, David Yates. 7th is 36, Rob Good. And in 8th place is number 710.
Well, turning left here, it's Don Henshaw's back into the lead now, the 62 car. Incredible, but it's our championship leader. Lost out of our eyesight somewhere, didn't he? Because the number 4 car, oh no, he's back up, sorry, that was a transponder issue. He is back up into 4th place. But Don Henshaw's the one in the lead again now.
Yes, he is. So he's fought back after losing the lead. Is he going to get it right? So he's coming up to the place where he made that little mistake earlier on, but it hasn't done him any harm. He's fought his way back. He's in the lead as they turn through Britain's chicane. Bit of a vigorous, aggressive curb hopper, but it's okay. He's still in the lead. He's being challenged, though, by Ben Winrow. Ben Winrow comes up alongside their side-by-side over Hilltop.
Yeah, down towards their side-by-side. Henshaw's still got it, and he's managed to cut back over to take his full line there. And, in fact, it's not Winrow. That was Stephen Clark that was in 2nd trying to challenge for the lead. Ben Winrow's in 3rd, just ahead of Baldwin. Oh, and Stephen Clark's got a little bit out of shape trying to take some extra speed through Nickelbrook. But over Clay Hill, it's Henshaw that's got the nod.
Well, I don't think Don Henshaw's had a win this year, so can he hang on to take a win? It's been a very aggressive, forceful drive he's put in, an impressively quick one, and he's leading the cars down towards Lodge corner for the final time. He's been looked at on the inside by Stephen Roberts, I think that was, but he's not going to find a space there. There's a car that's gone off into the gravel at Lodge corner, but the gravel's still cause so much dust I can't tell you who it is, but we'll find out by process of elimination as the checker flag is taken by Don Henshaw wins from in 2nd place number 33 Mark Roberts, in 3rd place number 71 John Chivral, in 4th place 50 David Yates, in 5th place number 15 David Yates. So it's Henshaw, Baldwin 2nd, Roberts is 3rd, Chivral is 4th, 5th is Yates, 6th is 36 Rob Good. In 7th place, number 25, having gone off at the last corner, Stephen Clark drops down to 7th. In 8th place, number 710, Jake Poole. In 9th place, also going off at the last corner, number 124, Ben Winrow, recovers to finish 9th. And in 10th place, number 8, Simon Sharrock. Caroline Everett ending up in 11th place. In 12th place, number 65, Robert Cooper. In 13th place, number 50, Greg Hyatt. And in 14th place, number 63, Scott Parker. Phew, well that was quite some race, and as I say, a couple of cars off in the gravel at the final corner at Lodge corner meant that Stephen Clark and Ben Winrow, despite contesting the lead almost all the way through, ended up in 7th and 9th places respectively. Right, we're going to see whether they'll turn up for a podium. It's lunchtime.